Ever since 1995, LEGO has been partnering up with other companies to create video games based on their franchises and IPs. Some of these include LEGO Racers, the LEGO Rock Raiders game, and one of my favorites from this era, LEGO Island Extreme Stunts. And in 2009, LEGO partnered up with Hellbent Games to create a LEGO Battles video game for the Nintendo DS, which received mixed reviews and, to be honest, doesn't have that much impact in today's pop culture, or even among LEGO fans for that matter. But it was an important game to the LEGO catalog, as it inspired LEGO and the devs to create LEGO Battles Ninjago, the first ever Ninjago video game, which released to almost zero critical acclaim. The game heavily takes inspiration from the pilot season of the show, with gameplay identical to the first LEGO Battles game. The game is fine, controls fine, and in my opinion, the pixel art style looks really good on these characters. But it's probably not what Ninjago fans wanted at the time. They wanted spinjitzu battles, crazy set pieces, and some awesome third-person combat. But they got the 2DS strategy game instead, and not even a great one at that. I understand the frustration fans had at the time. Also, Kai, what is that hairpiece, my guy? What did they do to you, my boy? 3 years later, LEGO released another Ninjago video game for the Nintendo DS and PS Vita, LEGO Ninjago Nindroids, this time based on the third season of the show, rebooted. Fans really like this one as far as I know. It's mostly in line with the other LEGO titles releasing at the time, with a stud count at the top and everything, even though it's a very bare-bones game compared to LEGO's other console releases. But that's understandable since this was only released on the DS and the Vita. This time, the game features voice acting, but not by the original voice actors from the actual Ninjago show, instead going for known voice actors in the video game industry. And while researching this video, I was very much surprised with the talent they were able to pull off. This is an all-star cast. We have Karen Strassman as Lloyd and Pixel, who I know for voicing Rouge the Bat and Annette from Resident Evil 2 Remake. Nolan North is Kai, who I know as Raphael from the 2007 TMNT movie, and Nathan Drake from Uncharted, one of my favorite game series. Yuri Lowenthal is Zane, and you may know him as Spider-Man and Ben 10, so this guy is one of the best there is. And Roger Craig Smith voices my favorite ninja, Cole, in this game, and you may know Roger as Sonic the Hedgehog in most modern appearances, just to name a few. The game very much is the standard LEGO formula, but it was a very decent game at the time for Ninjago fans who desperately wanted a video game experience based on the show. A year later, Ninjago Shadows of Ronin or Shadow of Ronin? I gotta look this up. A year later, Ninjago Shadow of Ronin was released to the DS and the Vita, which has one of the most baffling story decisions in Ninjago history. It introduces this new character, his name is in the title, you know, Ronin, and when he appears in the show fully expects you to have played this game. Of course, at the time, I think this was more acceptable, not fully acceptable since not everyone had a freaking DS or Vita to play this game, but fans would probably be interested enough to know about it. But it's the year of our Lord 2024, and not a single kid that's a fan of Ninjago probably knows this game exists. It's a relic of its time. I personally watched the full Ninjago show in 2022, and I was so confused when this guy showed up. I just didn't know who he was. So yeah, now I know because of this game, he was just in the show. But talking about the actual game, it's a decent one, very similar to Nindroids, a standard LEGO game kinda dumbed down to the DS and Vita. Seeing these two games just makes me wish they got ports for consoles like the PS2 and Xbox, so it could be next to the likes of Star Wars The Complete Saga and LEGO Batman. But for now, we can only imagine what a home console Ninjago game could look like. But in 2015, a new LEGO game was released. And it was a big one. LEGO Dimensions was LEGO's way of competing with the new trend in gaming, Toys to Life, getting a bunch of properties together for a mishmash of LEGO fun. I'm gonna be honest, I never played this one. I never had the money to play it since the base game was already so expensive and I wouldn't have the money for the expansion pack, so I just kinda gave up on it. But Ninjago got an expansion pack for it, so it's the first time Ninjago was in a home console release. The pack was based on the 4th season of the show, Tournament of Elements, which was the season that released at the time. The cast from Nindroids came back to reprise their roles as the Ninjago cast, except for Nolan North as Kai, who got replaced by Charlie Schlater, who's mostly known for being the voice of the Flash and a bunch of stuff. I can't really tell you my opinion of this pack and game for that matter since I haven't played it, but watching and comparing footage of the Ninjago pack with other LEGO Dimensions packs, it feels like the Ninjago one didn't get as much love as the licensed teams, but this is just my take viewing it from afar. Next, we gotta talk about LEGO Worlds, which released in 2017, but I actually only played the beta version back in 2015. In LEGO Worlds, we actually got some free DLC for the ninja with their Ninjago Movie outfits, as well as Master Wu, Master Chen, and an Akandrai warrior, a Nindroid, and various builds for the game. Nothing special, but it's cool that they did that, and also that it was free. And finally, let's talk about Ninjago's actual first home console game, the LEGO Ninjago Movie video game. And how does it hold up? It's alright, I guess. When it released in 2017, the LEGO video game tropes were already pretty stale. Even with the new ideas this game provides, like the new and improved combat and stuff like that, this was too little, too late in my opinion. If this was based on the show and released in like 2012, this game would have been much better. At that point, TT Games had already lost their sauce, and were constantly putting out not so great LEGO games. This one not being an exception. At least it had some cool nods to the show like unlockable characters and outfits, and bosses based on iconic villains. But yeah, not my favorite entry as far as LEGO games go. And last but not least, we're gonna talk about LEGO Brawls, which was released in 2019 on Apple Arcade, but with a full release in 2022 for most major consoles and PC. I've played a bunch of this game already, but in my honest opinion, it's fun for about 10 minutes or so. The Ninjago content in the game is very cool, with a lot of the show being represented in the game, even including content for Ninjago Dragons Rising. But yeah, the experience of actually playing the game could be improved with better gameplay. I really like the Ninjago content and the minifigures available to play, but it's just not that great of a game. And these were all of the games, which you may be asking which game is better for a Ninjago video game experience. Well, it depends. I say LEGO Brawls for the sheer content alone, but the Ninjago Movie video game might be better overall. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Thank you so much for watching and take care!